Michael Fertik, the founder and CEO of Reputation.com. Michael, you've talked about the future. Everyone now is thinking about the future in terms of privacy and reputation. The Commissioner for Privacy of the European Community has argued that the internet must learn how to forget. Are the solutions to reputation and privacy, do they lie in technology, do they lie in the market, or do they lie in the government?
Totally a Jedi level question for sure. So,
what's a Jedi?
Jedi level question.
What does that mean?
Oh my God. Okay, so you're not American. So it's like Jedi, like Star Wars.
Oh.
It's like a Jedi level, like a Yoda level question. So, like I'm an American, and I generally think that the market will solve problems, and I believe that entrepreneurs will solve problems.
Guys like you, basically.
Yeah, guys like me, but a lot of guys like me. They're cool, interesting people who solve different parts of the problem, and who want to solve it in technology that eats at this edge of the problem and so forth. So I generally believe that the free market is generally the best solution to most things like this. There's a funny phrase that says, there's no problem that's big enough that there's no business problem that's big enough that the government can't make it worse, right?
Well, at least the American government.
Well, okay, whatever. So, but I'll tell you, so I'm not a European. I don't believe that regulation is the first place to go. I'm hopeful and optimistic that technology and markets will solve the problem. I do believe that the law does need to catch up with technology, and I think there should be some incremental changes at the margins that can really not only solve a lot of privacy problems and not have a lot of downside consequences, but also unleash a huge amount of new innovation and wealth creation that will be enabled by very, very minor nips and tucks in regulation. So right now, the law in the internet is basically governed by two pieces of legislation in the US. So there's the Communications Decency Act, Section 230, that says that if someone else anonymously publishes something very, very vitriolic and hateful and libelous anonymously on a website, the website's not liable, and so you can spend years trying to find that person and litigating against that person, suing him, and even if you win, the content doesn't go down, so the libel continues forever. Or the Digital Millennium Copyright Act, which protects copyright, which says that Viacom can send one letter to YouTube and get it to remove 50,000 videos with one letter because it owns the copyright protection claim. But if your daughter or your brother or your kid sister is filmed on a digital camera phone, drinking a beer, kissing a guy, or whatever it is at a party, legally he or she is SOL. That's an unintended and perverse consequence of the law as it is today. So copyright and trademark enjoy a lot more protection than privacy and reputation, which is, by the way, not consistent with the hundreds of years of law that we've had in the West. So reputation and privacy actually enjoy protections that are older than the US Constitution. We just haven't updated the American legal system to make it work. So again, I went to Harvard Law School, so some people sort of imagine that I'm the regulation guy. I'm not. I think that there is a need for some changes, but I do believe in the market. I believe the market will solve it.
What about technology? There are some researchers in Holland who are working on technology that will enable the internet to forget data that will disappear over time. What do you think of those sorts of solutions?
I think they're cool, and I think that my company is making some of them, right? So if you can live your life socially on Facebook with our You Protected plugin, and then it locks up all the content so that even Facebook doesn't get the content, and none of your friends who used to see the content 2 years ago can still see it because it just creates a forgetting mechanism that deletes the data. Look, the cool thing about this topic is that it does not require a sort of a mental leap to imagine a future that is more within the control of the individual. If you're a real libertarian, you should believe, and you do believe, that the individual should control his or her destiny as much as possible. And the technology exists today, a lot of it. And the will exists today, a lot of it. And there's no need to opt people into a set of technologies that will be a forget button or a delete button for the web. But if they want the tool, I think they should have it. Right now, the alternative is true. Right now, we are all being opted into the machine without our knowledge or consent, right? The data are the new oil. The only person not benefiting from those data are you, the end consumer. In my view, you should benefit from them the same way that you should benefit from your genetic code. If your genes are being mapped, I think you should still benefit from the economic upside that comes from that mapping. And in my view, your digital privacy trail is also part of your personal genetic code that should benefit you as a consumer.
Final question, Michael, very briefly. There are going to be a lot of people in the audience, a lot of entrepreneurs who are perhaps thinking about getting into the privacy ecosystem.
Awesome.
Bit of advice from you. What should and shouldn't they do in under a minute?
The biggest advice I would say if you are in the privacy space or want to get in the privacy space is develop a business model that generates revenue fast, because there is still a received wisdom in the venture community that people will not pay for privacy. And so if you build a whole bunch of apparatuses that nobody is effectively using to pay you, then you actually don't get the benefit of the doubt. You do get the benefit of the doubt in an economic model that looks like advertising if you don't have revenue. But in privacy so far, generating revenue is a key first step to getting traction.